Well, welcome back to the DCL Podcast, your podcast to cruise a little smarter. I'm your host, Lake, and I am joined by my co-host, Christy. Christy, how are you today?
I am well, Lake. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We just saw each other this morning.
We did, and for days. We saw each other for days.
We did see each other for days, and that's why we're here, because we are here to talk about the Disney Destiny.
What? It's exciting.
Yeah. So, Christy, why don't you start off by telling us about what our sailing was?
Okay, so we had a preview sailing provided by Disney Cruise Line there were some media and travel professionals, and I was invited through my travel agency, Just Cruises and Vacations, as one of the invited guest travel professionals. So it was travel trade cruise. It's basically, the whole point is to get us to try the product, experience different things. They actually, this time, well, we could talk about it in a minute, but they even had some of the food and the drinks and the different offerings set up. That was a first. So that Disney has done that for the travel trade and not just for the media. So that was great. And it was 3 nights from Fort Lauderdale on the Disney Destiny. And we sailed to Lighthouse Point.
Absolutely. Yeah, super exciting. Exciting to be able to be a part of that and experience the Destiny.
Yeah.
I had not sailed the Treasure, so this was my first Wish class ship since the Wish, basically.
And it's different, right? Like, just because of the different offerings and things, this ship is different than the Wish.
I mean, I think similar to the Fantasy, as you continue to make ships in that class, they just learn things and get a little bit better, and I think that holds true.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm going to go ahead and start first with a real quick tidbit of getting down to Fort Lauderdale. I did use the Bright Line for the first time, and I will say, as someone from Central Florida, it was very easy, but like cost-effective wise, I could have driven down there pretty much in the same time it took me to get to MCO, get on the train, get down there. But I did it out of curiosity and to be able to discuss it. And I did find it to be pretty easy and smooth. I did do literally the most basic, economical one, like the cheapest ticket options, and I even took earlier trains to make that cheap. So I actually did round trip for less than $100.
And I was going to ask what that price would be. But you could have potentially done 2 one-way rentals, but then that's effort too, right? And then you still have to get to the port, although you had to get to the port anyway. But yeah, it's tricky.
But yeah, the convenience of like not having to drive and then having a space that is like definitely more comfortable than like an airplane, because you can just get up if you need to. You have way more room. The like all of the seats on there are kind of like made to be workspaces. There's plenty of plugs and everything, so the ability to just like have your laptop out and like do work you needed to do, like the whole time taking the train back up today, I was like getting the video and stuff organized and sorted, so that was all ready for when I got back. So that was definitely a huge convenient, because that was just kind of time gained working opposed to driving. But I do think, Central Florida, driving's probably still the play. But if you are considering maybe that, like, land and sea package, I think it's a good option.
Well, and just, the con for me as a whole for this ship is Fort Lauderdale from Central Florida. Now, if you are a guest flying in, like most guests that are taking this cruise, Fort Lauderdale is closer to the airport. And besides the experience that we had getting to the port on Sunday, which we'll address in a second, it really is an easy port, typically. I believe there were 8 ships in port that day, and they did not handle the 8 ships well. But just from a flying in standpoint, really quick, you have a couple of options. Disney works with 2 hotels, the Marriott Harbor Beach, I believe it's called, and then the Hilton Marina something Fort Lauderdale. And both of those, you can use Disney Transport to take a bus. The bus per person will cost more, just like it typically does from Walt Disney World for their transportation, but it does give you that earlier boarding group time, all of those things. So you could stay at the beach. I actually think that from a traffic standpoint, it might be better to stay near the airport. And just from a convenience standpoint, Fort Lauderdale traffic was a lot. And it was a lot both the morning of that was ridiculous, the morning of the cruise. And then it was a lot even leaving, and it was a lot arriving into that location because it's further in than just going to the airport. So just all of those things are something to consider. But you know what? I had like a beautiful ocean view, and Disney did put us up. They covered the hotel and the parking and all of that for our pre-night stay. And so it isn't something I paid for. So let's just put that out there. You can walk to some dining. If you had a car like we did, you could drive 15 minutes, and there's a ton of really good restaurants. We went to Rocco's Tacos, which was, a favorite for my whole family. We all loved it. And maybe it was a 10-minute or 15-minute drive at the most. But the traffic is no joke. And, there's a little bit of paying for parking and all the things. So it's just something to consider. I know people that really like the AC, the Marriott brand AC by the airport. It's also by like a mall that you buy discounted things at. What are those? Outlet mall. It's by like an outlet mall. There's dining in there that you can get to. So like that's a very convenient location for families. You don't have the beautiful beach, but if you have a flight arriving at like 6:00 or 5:00 the day before your cruise, you don't necessarily need to have that beach view. So work with your travel agent to decide what makes the most sense for you based upon when you're arriving, what your goals are, and things like that. And I think that way, and even when we were leaving today, I think it's better to go out by the airport to both come and leave. And so I think that might save you a little, just something to consider. We did not leave towards the airport today, and we also did not appreciate trying to leave Fort Lauderdale. It just was a lot. And then you're, in rush hour and all the stuff. So let's go back to the beginning though. We took our car from the hotel. You met us in the morning. So you did your Brightline, you came, you went for a run, you came back and got ready. I had like a little travel agent trade show thing to do at the hotel. And so we all did our stuff. You went for your run, we got ready. We went and left to go to the port. And then what should take 15 minutes took like an hour and 15 minutes maybe.
It was a little bit over an hour. So Port Everglades was boasting a record number of people coming to the port, 59,000 across 8 ships.
And it did
not go well.
They did not handle it well. And like, even in terms of, you could also sense, because Disney had only sailed out of here. This was only the second time it was sailing out of Fort Lauderdale for this ship. I feel like the port didn't even know what to do with the people. And it's so many less people. At least tomorrow when they're cruising, Thursday as a general rule isn't a super, for the maiden voyage, isn't it also a super busy day? It's on a Saturday or Sunday when a lot of the week-long cruises are coming and going. And it's not a Monday to Friday cruise, right? So this isn't their like peak busy day. So I'm hopeful that that'll go better. But there wasn't even proper signage to tell people where to go. People were abandoning their Ubers and taxis to walk the rest of the way into the port, which I'm assuming saved them a ton of time. But also, you're with a family, you have all your luggage, and you're walking in the heat into the port. It's just a lot. So anyway, I don't know what this experience will be like for everybody else. I have cruised out of Fort Lauderdale before. It has never been like this, ever. So I also think there's the issue because they typically check your ID and stuff, but the roads weren't really set up in a lot of ways to check people into the port for identification purposes. So I just think they have stuff to work out. Especially if people are coming from the downtown Fort Lauderdale airport. Like the roads just couldn't handle it. The lights couldn't handle it. Like nothing worked well for them that day. We also did learn that there was potentially supplies that didn't make it on board, and it could potentially have been because of the issues of that day. And so, this is a new ship. They still have some food from Europe that's on board. And so they're working through finishing up that. So things might look a little different the first couple of sailings as they work things out.
Yes, it was a rough hour and a half or so, but once we got parked and got to the port, it was pretty smooth because
the easiest.
Not a lot of people were there yet because everyone was stuck in traffic. Getting through. This was my first time seeing the newly renovated Disney terminal, and I thought it was nice. I mean, it's not quite to the level of Port Canaveral, but it is a pretty large space, which I thought was good. It had a little bit of the Christmas decorations up, and most importantly, it was smooth.
Yes, very, very smooth. Very easy because there was nobody there.
Yeah, we pretty much walked right through and walked right up to the ship.
Yeah.
But then we got to board the Disney Destiny for the first time.
Which was also wild because there was nobody on board. There was nobody in the Grand Hall when there were like crew members. They were like, "Do you want us to cheer you on?" We were kind of like, "No, maybe." So,
they did. We didn't do the name, but they did still clap for us and everything.
They did.
But I will say, I think, Christy, you were maybe less excited about this atrium. And I thought walking into this atrium was stunning.
I think it exceeded my expectations, which as a whole, the cruise in this ship, remember, I'm not a Marvel girl. Never seen a Marvel movie. Don't know that I'll ever see a Marvel movie. The only Marvel movies I've ever seen was the Lego Marvel that they made, that Blake has watched 100 of times. That is it. So I know some of the characters because of the little Lego figures that and what they did in the Lego movie. But talk more about what your impressions were.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the lobby statue itself, Black Panther, I think kind of falls to shadow being that black statue. It's not quite as prevalent in there because it is kind of moved towards the stairs, and some of that area has changed a little bit to add more floor space, which is good. But the Grand Hall as a whole, because they've added these LED glowing light elements that change kind of through the day and depending on what's going on, really make it more of a place where you want to be more often. You want to see what's going on because as there's different characters or different days out there, the Grand Hall is doing different things. Like Pirate Night, the whole Grand Hall is like a pirate theme, and it's the chandeliers changing kind of reds and yellows. It was just really stunning, and it was a space that on the Wish, I would not find myself hanging out on, but on this ship, I'm like, I got to go see what's going on in the Grand Hall. I got to see what the Grand Hall looks like. What color is it going to be now?
And I agree with that, actually. Donna made this comment that she isn't sure that she would get into the vibe or wouldn't be into the whole vibe because she's not into Marvel. You still are. You want to go and see, like Lake said, what is the Grand Hall doing? It really was pretty. I don't understand any of the references. None of them. And I still enjoyed stuff. And we'll talk about the adult only show in a little bit. We'll talk about a couple different things, but I am looking forward to going on the ship again. And we have some listeners that are cruising over a holiday next year, and they wanted us to go with them. And I would consider it. I am not interested in driving to Fort Lauderdale is my biggest issue because it's 7 hours and round trip, and I can go much closer. And so that is probably the reason that I would consider not going, but had nothing to do with the ship or Marvel.
Well, speaking of that, we should also mention if you want to sail the Destiny with us, you can join us this July 18th to the 23rd for a 5-night sailing for our DCL podcast cruise. We are booked. A lot of friends of MouseGen are also booked and coming along. So there is a good group of us. Someone else pretty exciting was just messaging me about potentially talking about booking. So that could be cool.
Yeah, so you can join. And if you're team non-Marvel, we can be team non-Marvel together because I'm still not going to see any Marvel movies by then.
And
maybe I'd be inclined to see something with Loki, which we'll talk about just so I can understand him more. But no, I'm probably still not doing that.
well, why don't we go ahead and just stick with some of that Destiny specific stuff, some of the Destiny entertainment, and then we can go into dining after that. Because I think one of the big things that is exciting and new is, of course, the ship-specific characters, which they brought out for the treasure. And then they announced that the Destiny would also have their own ship-specific characters. They are Zaya and Gamble.
Yes. And Joe from Disney Deciphered, who's one of our listeners and Patreons, he actually said The Wish has them and sent me a clip with them. They apparently have it and they do a show. So now this class of ship is going to have these like storyteller characters that will be prevalent throughout your cruise.
So the Wish did launch with the minstrels, but the treasure really kind of took that element and the storytelling and like absolutely revamped it. So I would hope that they would go back into the Wish and do the same thing with those elements, because yes, those characters did exist in concept on the Wish, but it was not executed in the way that it has been executed now.
I agree.
But I think those characters and the stories they tell are really cool because they really work hard to tie the elements of the ship together. And I think it really just helps with that overall theming of the Destiny with the heroes and villains. It is pretty heavy Marvel and pretty heavy villains as well, I would say.
Yes, but let me talk about that for a second, because I was trying to decide how I felt about all these Marvel shows. And let's be honest, I'm not that interested in random grand hall shows as my way of entertainment in the first place. Like, would I take my child to see it if it's something he wants? Absolutely. And I would go and I would do the things. But like, we were at a show yesterday and I don't think I paid more than a minute or two attention to it. I was standing there with you, don't even know what the show was about. And so, I mean, I do know because you told me, and there was like a pot of thing in the middle, but I don't know what the show is about. And so, whether it's Marvel or something else, that's not the way I want to be entertained on a ship. But I love that it is a way to entertain other people. I guess the only other thing about like the Marvel as entertainment is there's a whole bunch of like game shows and different things like that are also Marvel. And I mean, they make it funny, but also because I don't care about Marvel, like I'd be less inclined to go to that. But I probably don't go to game shows on many of the ships anyway, right? So that's the thing, is it just, would you go to the thing and they make it entertaining, whether or not it's a villain or Marvel? And remember, I'm not a villain person. I just like princesses and happiness.
Yeah. But I did like too with those lobby shows that it actually was like kind of a big cohesive story, because one of the earlier shows starts with Loki like taking over the ship and crowning himself as king of the ship. And then on the last day, like one of the final shows is basically King T'Challa coming and overthrowing Loki and taking back the ship for you. And then there is like a closing one, which is I think it was Destiny Decided or something like that. And that brought out like a bunch. It was mostly like heroes and princesses, like a whole big cabaret of characters, as well as the Fab Five classics. Go ahead.
Okay, I could not unmute myself. So that was that show at the very end where they had the people popping out from all the different locations, right? In the grand hall, but on all the different floors.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one was cool. And we didn't have the greatest spot. Like for that show, you kind of had to be more centered or even like right down in the grand hall. Because as Christy said, yeah, characters were kind of just popping up like next to people all over the ship, which was cool. Like it was fun. But
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
were
really
too
get
high.
to see every part of it because there were characters like under us and kind of like around you. But it was cool. It was really cool.
And we arrived late. Like we arrived at the last minute for that. So it wasn't like we got there early and then that was our own fault.
Yeah, for sure. But then talking about those characters, they do have the kind of sketch comedy show. And on this ship, it is called With Great Power, a Marvel comedy show. It is adults only, and it is funny.
It's so funny. I laughed more than you did. And I didn't even understand all the jokes. You had to explain some of the things to me. And even Dave, because, you know, even he watches Marvel or watches some Marvel, but doesn't know it like you do. And so, yeah, it was hilarious. They're so creative. It is so impressive what they come up with.
Yeah, the way they style that show, because there is like a camera that has a like rotating back screens, and they're like putting puppets up to help explain parts of movies. So if you're not familiar with Marvel, they are kind of going through sections of movies and like explaining characters.
Yep.
But there are still those like deep cut jokes in there if you are like a deep Marvel fan that you might miss if you're not up to date on Marvel. But overall, it was funny and it was good. It was one of my favorite things I think we did on the ship. And the pre-show music, the Elixir Club. Well, first, it starts out a little bit too long because you kind of sit there for like 30 minutes while they sell you drinks.
And you have to, because there are no seats. There literally will be no seats. And remember, there are still no seats on the Treasure for their show. And yeah, so you have to get there early. And we had maybe, I don't know how many people were on our ship, but it wasn't very full. And so you have to get there early.
Yes. But the girl that played the character that did the singing like pre-show, phenomenal.
So good. So good.
Yes. She was one of the muses for Hercules too, which you 100% knew when she came out and started that set. You're like, we're going to see her tomorrow.
Yeah, because she's so good.
Yeah.
So you want to get there early. You can order some drinks or just hang out with your group. It is adults only. It is so funny. So just sort of like on the Treasure, that same adults only show, they did Indiana Jones on the Treasure. This one would be the Marvel movies, both fantastic. You don't have to be big fans of either. What would it be called? Genre or movie, whatever the word is that's supposed to come after that word. To really enjoy it, the show. It's really, really good.
Yeah, definitely a highlight. Do you have anything else about like the non-show entertainment you want to discuss?
I don't think so.
The only thing I'll hit is when we talk about lounges and stuff, like with music.
Well, and do we want to talk about, I guess we should talk about your sleight of hand guy show.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good, yes. So
and I
have
and a couple of other ones that I'll come back to because I have them in my head now.
Yeah, so again, another like exclusive to the Destiny is this kind of mysterious Dr. Facilier. It's kind of advertised as like a meet and greet experience, but it happens in the Shutter studio, which is kind of a unique like use of a space, to be honest. But it's super intimate. There's no recording or anything allowed. You get there and it happens, I think it happens 6 or 7 times, even on our sailing. But every time you either like had to be there early for it or you were going to wait in a pretty long line because they only take a group of about 10 people at a time. And it only is about 5 to 7 minutes long per group. It's not super, super long. But you go in and it's like a little parlor and Dr. Facilier is standing there with like a little playing card table in front of you. He chooses a couple people to sit down in front of him. And he basically does like some sleight of hand style optical illusion tricks for you. And it was super cool. It was like one trick basically that they have time for. But the fact that like you have this character, like, you know, as the character doing this and then pulling off that sort of magic and also doing like a little bit of crowd work, like he was funny, but also in character, like it was really cool. It was really unique. Like one of those, you'll only find this on Disney Cruise Line type of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be curious if that keeps going. I mean, it's great. And the people were really lined up for it. But it's short. I don't know. I guess I'm good for Disney. Good for Disney for coming up with stuff, I guess. That is the bottom line. I am always happy if there's more things for them to offer for people to do on a ship. So Cruella was another one of the sort of ship entertainment moments. This one we never really got to do the full event with or really any of it, unless you caught, because there's a part that occurs in DeVille's and then there's a part that occurs in the Grand Hall. And both times that we tried to go to DeVille's, we could not get in. And the one we were going to get there no, we weren't getting there that early, but we were going to get there a little bit early, and still there was no seating in there. And so we never got to see that. So that'll be something we'll get to do, and we'll arrive early for in July. We'll have more time, which will be great as well. But that's another one of those shows that are just, you know, Disney created specifically for the ship, which I love.
Me too. Yeah. So many cool like character interactions on this ship. I mean, always like with Disney Cruise Line, that's consistent. We waited for Superhero Minnie, and she totally like brought it.
She's
like
so
super
cute.
peppy and in character.
Yes. Well, of course, she's a superhero. And Lake, this is the show that Lake was in the Grand Hall for. He was watching the one with the Tiana's pot. And that's the show that I was standing there, but didn't actually pay attention to at all. And except I liked it when the chandelier changed colors. But we were first in line.
Yep.
And
I watched that show from
Lake
line.
aside. Yes.
She did.
Yes. I did. And it was just, it was so great. I love Minnie. Superhero Minnie is even better.
It was a great character interaction.
Yeah.
I mean, just like any other ship, like in the lobby or the Grand Hall on those floors, there was always like 3, 4, 5 characters.
Dave and I were talking about this, though. There were a lot of roaming characters on the sailing, but I don't think there were a lot of actual photograph opportunities for characters. But I think that just had to do with the media element of the cruise, because these characters were needed in different places. So...
yeah, and when they have those special shows, those characters do stay out and meet people, but it is not as organized as like a typical meet and greet. There's not a photo pass person available to them, but on multiple occasions, I've seen the character pretty much stay out there. I know they did the Maleficent one in Saga, and someone had went to it, met the character, and then passed by an hour later. And Maleficent was still there finishing meeting with the characters.
And that was one of our listener questions too, was did she meet after? And so it appears as though that she is doing that. And somebody else confirmed that too.
Felt like Black Panther did the same thing. Like, even though that Grand Hall was packed with people, like he was really trying to, you know, at least shake hands and work and interact with everyone he could for a while.
And Loki with his smoldering eyes.
Yeah, Loki was probably like one of the more prevalent characters because I feel like we saw him a lot. I mean, he's part of a couple different shows, and then he had some actual meet and greets as well where he was out and about.
Yes, we did. You gotta have like little ding with the smile in the.
Christy just likes her Brody bad boy.
I mean, I might like villains now. I don't, but he really is. He's very good at his job.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Donna mentioned it looks like no one got off the ship at Lighthouse. I'm guessing there was so much to explore on the ship and not enough time. Did you enjoy the 5K on the island? Yeah, I'll hit on Lighthouse real quick. I think that's kind of the cliff note to this show. But I did get off and spent a couple hours on the island because I was excited to go back. The running path is technically open, but there is still not an official 5K. But you can run basically from the ship all the way past the trams on the tram path and get to the main part of the island.
There's not even an official or unofficial 5K. It's just
Correct.
that you can run. And there was merchandise. So my last time on the island would have been maybe in March. There was 5K merch then, and there is none now. So who knows too if they'll be bringing it back. The cast members, or the crew rather, did say you always stay to the left of the yellow line. So like when you're towards the tram, when you're at the tram stop, you'll see a yellow line where you would stand behind to board the tram. You just follow that all the way to the beach and you stay to the left of that. Or if you're coming back to the right of it, I suppose. But it wasn't quite 3 miles. Well, that it was exactly 3 miles, but it was not 3.1.
No,
If you
that's
go
from the ship
from the
to
ship.
the island and then back all the way to the ship. The actual like tram stop to where you get to the other side is about a mile.
It is hilly too. So if you didn't listen to snippets that we did for Patreon and you want to know about the 5K for your own self, I mean, it's not like you're not climbing a mountain, but it's not flat. And so keep that in mind. There's water at the tram stop, and there's water halfway to the pier, like the exact halfway point on the pier, there's water. So I had actually brought a water bottle. I filled it up at that halfway point, and then I had it for the rest of the run. But I ran to and from the ship. So in the lake, and I did a nature trail, which we'll talk about in a second. And then we took a picture with Donald. We learned some things about eating allergies at Lighthouse. And I'll just say that really quick too. If you have an allergy and you are eating at Lighthouse Point, you can now eat at either True 2-1 or True 2-2, which is a change. So I guess it's not really True 2-1. It's just True 2. And you just let your dining team know where you're going to eat. And if you, our team, go to the right like we are, you are going to eat at True 2. I can't ever say it, but you eat at the first one, not at the second one. And that's where like the kids club is. That's closer, in my opinion, to the kids splash pad as well. That's closer to that cultural center. So isn't it right? It's not the cultural center that's there. It's where they do the crafts. It's like the play pavilion. So Correct. It's closer to all, and it's close to like the right, the part of the beach where you go to the right and there's nobody over there. And yeah, so you now will just tell your serving team, which is great. And then we went, I don't think there's anything else related to the run, right?
No, not really. We went and did the nature trail because neither of us had done that. Super serene, super cool. It is not like a super like well-maintained manicured path. I mean, it wasn't like treacherous or anything, but you're not going to push a stroller on it. It's a little rocky and unstable. But super cool to go out there, again, see the original lighthouse. They do have some like signs pointing out different nature and, the significance of the lighthouse. So that was super cool as well.
There was a water station every 0.1 miles also because we were timing it. The whole nature trail is only 0.6 miles. So it's like 0.3 to get there and to get back. There is a path you can take when you're coming back. If you sort of go to the left and up a little hill, it's very little. It's like a slight incline. Then that particular way you get more views of the ship. And so that's a nice view as well. Just as something different. But it was really nice. It's very hot. It is not shaded, much like the 5K quote unquote course, not a lick of shade. So especially during the warmer months, it's something to keep in mind. For us, it was very pleasant.
Yeah, it was a lovely day. And again, bringing it back to what Donna asked, not a lot of people got off the ship and made it over there. I hung out for a little bit and, did the water. I was like literally the only one for like 200 yards either side in the water. Like, no one was there. Where I left my bags, I was the only set of towels there in the whole section. It was a very empty day. Getting food, I just walked up to whatever I wanted. And it was a lovely day to kind of round out the things I was missing from my lighthouse experiences previously.
Yeah. And my family did not. Oh, Lake is leaving. He's switching us around.
The wrong button.
My family did not get off the ship that day. They actually did room tours because they had room tours set up for people. So they did a whole bunch of room tours. And then later in the afternoon, I think Lake fell asleep on a cushion, and we did the tours of the suites so that were available for viewing. So that was fun.
Yeah. Well, do we want to go ahead and focus back on the Destiny and move into dining?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we really just have one big dining to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about really quick the other two restaurants. So we have 1923. It's basically the same as the menu on the Wish. So if you were at 1923, it's also the night one menu for the Treasure. So if you're familiar with those, that's going to be your menu for 1923. Then we have the Marvel restaurant. Marvel is the night two Rocket and who's with Rocket?
Rocket and Groot.
The Groot show from the Treasure, so the night two show, but it has the night one menu. So it has the Marvel or the Marvel restaurant on the Wish or the night one menu for that restaurant. So you can keep that in mind for your dining needs. And then we have the entertainment restaurant, which is the Lion King or the Pride Lands Feast of the Lion King. Oh my gosh. I went into this ship knowing that I was going to be very interested in Pride Lands and very interested in Hercules. And my expectations were met at both of those. And I was very happy I could go to that restaurant and have that entertainment night, like cruise over cruise. I could do that. If I could get myself to Fort Lauderdale a little easier, that would make that decision even better, right? It exceeded my it met. Did it meet my expectations? Exceeded my expectations? I'm not sure how to answer that, but I loved it so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I had said that I had very high expectations for the Lion King show. Again, because there are numerous Lion King shows that have been done very well, Broadway, Disney World, like all over. And I think they very much met my expectations for that in the best sort of way. Like, the entertainment was great. It was long. Like, there was a good mix of, things from Broadway, just a lot of extra stuff beyond the traditional Lion King, original Lion King soundtrack. I thought the cast did very good. Like, they were excellent. That was all very good. And I enjoyed the food too. The menu is definitely a little bit creative, but I pretty much went off our server's recommendations for me, and pretty much everything he recommended I was pleased with.
Yeah, he recommended the chicken satay. Is that how it said? The chicken skewer. It was delicious. Did you eat the little tomato paste or chutney or whatever it was in that little tiny bowl?
I did not have that one because I did the shrimp.
Oh, okay. I thought you got those. Did you get two appetizers though?
I did, and I also got a soup.
Did you get the tomato salad?
No, I got the fruit salad like you did.
Oh, right. And that was fine. I wouldn't necessarily waste. I guess we needed fruit because I feel like on this class of ship, you don't get as much fruit opportunities. But the fruit was fine. I think we just liked it because it seemed unique, but I don't know. But when we had this travel agent thing where they take you into the restaurants and whatever, they set up a bunch of food. They gave us the tomato salad in there, which I apparently didn't order. Oh my gosh, the flavors were so good. I want to go back again just to get that tomato salad. So get the tomato salad. The chicken skewer was delicious. Such good flavors. I loved it. Dave actually tried it and just said it was okay, but Dave doesn't like flavors. And so he ate it, but he didn't like all the stuff because he doesn't like and he doesn't like tomatoes like that. So the kid menu is tricky. Everything is very unique on the kid menu, but what we need to remember and what our server sort of didn't remember also was that the kids, and they taught us this at our travel agent meeting, but that the kid menu every day has mac and cheese, hamburgers, cheese pizza, and chicken tenders. And so if your child would eat one of those things, then you don't have to worry about the unique menu. So you can always get that for your child. Because everything was just like a little bit weird, like pizza with a whole bunch of weird toppings on it. But now we know we can just get cheese pizza.
Yeah, but overall, I enjoyed the meal. I had done the shrimp. It was kind of like a shrimp and whatever like their version of grits was, and that was pretty good. Again, I had the fruit salad, which was fine. The soup was fine, but then my main was the curry, and I thought that was very good.
I had the lamb shank. My lamb shank was a little bit different than your lamb or than the regular. I think mine was the gluten-free version, and it was good. It was exactly as you'd expect. Dave enjoyed his prime rib that he had that day, and he didn't think there was anything unique on his plate about the prime rib, but it's probably good for him. He really did enjoy it.
I'll admit I did not think that his was the most unique option on that menu.
No.
His was the red meat eater special.
Which is what he needed in life. Yep. And so it was perfect. So if you are a red meat eater and not looking for something unique, to this point, the Pride Lands was our first night. Our server, well, they told us that we should pre-order because I have celiac disease. I have to eat gluten-free. They did say they want you now to pre-order your first night's dinner in advance at lunch. And especially if you are going to that restaurant so that they have time to get the items prepared if you have a special dietary need or an allergy. And so to do that, you should go to, and this is going to be true for every ship, they said, you're going to go to either Marceline Market or Cabanas or the sit-down restaurant, talk to the head server and say that you would like to pre-order your first meal, your first night's dinner, so that they have those hours. In the past, they've always said they don't want us to pre-order, and it's good that now they're looking to change that. That'll make things a little bit more smooth.
Don't understand why we have this intership messaging app that they use for notifications, and
Right?
They could very easily send that message on your embarkation day saying, hey, come to this location between these times so we can confirm your allergy and we'll take your order for tonight and let's just make this smoother for everyone.
Right?
But instead, here we are telling everyone.
Well, it's a good thing. Maybe we can stay in business because our non-business so that we can tell people. But right, like they could communicate with us. They make us all use this app. But
it's just one of those, like, they have the technology. Why do we not?
Exactly. So I would say there's still some growing pains for the restaurant and just something. It's new, right? And so new takes some time for people to get used to. They also didn't tell us in one of my meetings that there's 40% new crew on basically every ship. So because they keep putting out ships, they have to staff them. And so that they really work with them with training though, and for their service of excellence of their goals. And I do feel like the crew were still wonderful and engaging and all of the good things you want from a DCL crew. Just, some things like Dave and I, because I had to pre-order my next night's meal, were the very last people in Pride Lands. So much the last people that they closed the whole main door for the restaurant. Like we went to exit it and we're like, wait, where's the door? Literally, where did the door go? because they had, but then we learned how to break into it because we did not break into it. We walked into it because when Lake and I took pictures the next day, we knew now how to open the door.
That's true.
Because they had to let me out.
Yeah. Do you have anything else on The Lion King, or I don't really have any other notes on like dining in general. I mean, Festival of Foods is still amazing and great options. I ate there for dinner one night instead of doing 1923, more for just like utilizing my time type of sake.
I enjoyed it as well. The Festival of Foods area, the rest of the food was good. There's random, and this is just so funny to me. There's random whole fruit items now available at the ice cream stand. So, and it's not cut up fruit. It's like you can have a pear. So you can like go pick up an apple. So I guess
I like that.
It's good that there's fruit.
I was wondering though so that was open super, super early with all the radio stations that were up there.
Do you think it's
like
just
that
for
opened
that?
at like 5 a.m. or something? I don't know. I couldn't confirm or not. But yeah, they had like random extra stuff because they had pastries and stuff out there. And I think that was specifically for them.
Oh, there's not a first breakfast all the time over there. Is that what we're thinking then? Because there was like a first breakfast, but you're right. There were all the media people out.
Yeah, like out and setting up there.
Yeah.
But again, that is to be confirmed.
So you have to, people cruising will have to report back if there are random whole pears and bananas and apples at the ice cream stand. It's like, I do miss that from Festival of Foods though, versus the first 4 ships where you can get like a salad or a fruit bowl or things like that. Like I feel like you don't get as much roughage and fruits and vegetables on the Wish class ship. I suppose we could go into Marceline Market to get those things, but we didn't do that.
Only in the weird hours that Marceline Market is open.
Exactly.
Oh, which we did do for breakfast.
We did.
Every morning.
And Lake, there is seating in the very back of Marceline Market where you can sit outside because we wondered and thought that there wasn't seating outside. I don't know if there's seating outside on the Wish. And
I don't think I've ever made it that far back in that restaurant.
Yes. So if you want to sit outside, you can still do that. Liz said they want us to get scurvy with no fruit.
Also, we are live for everyone who is re-listening. I'm just going to shout out Austin Haynes said, love the DCL podcast and dropped a donation on our YouTube. Thank you very much, Austin. Do we want to move into shows or show, I should say?
Yes, I did not know. I was like, wait, we're talking about this. We're doing a show. What do you mean? But yes, the live production show. Yes. We did not go see Seize the Adventure. I love Seize the Adventure, but there was too much to see on this 3-night cruise, so we did not see it. We also did not see Frozen, which is the other movie, the other theater production on this ship. I love Frozen, but also lots to do. I just swung in once to see which characters from Hercules were in the Frozen cast. And so that was the only, I spent 2 minutes in there.
Again, same story. I did not see Seize or Frozen, but to Christy's point though, seeing Frozen, at least if you're sailing like in this inaugural season, might be worth it just because the casting is phenomenal right now on the ship. Yeah,
the Destiny 1 entertainment cast is like, again, just sort of like the Treasure one, pick them up, throw them on Broadway, and I think they would work there. And so let's talk about the main event, Hercules. This one sold out, like every seat was taken, and I thought, or just about every seat, I thought it wouldn't be because there wasn't so many people on board, but people really did come to do the show. If you are going to go to it, I would consider going to the matinee. They should probably have a matinee, and then, or get there early, get there like a half hour early at least, especially if you want to sit in a seat that you want to pick. Let me just say one more thing. I walked in to Frozen because, again, I wanted to see the cast. The back of the theater is very far away. So if you're on the main floor and you need to, you either arrive late and they're the only seats left. I love a good back of this row, back of the theater, so you can get in, you can get out. Like on the Magic, you can easily sit back there and watch Tangled or Rapunzel, whatever that show is called, and not have and see everything. On this class, it is far. So if you really want to see it, you need to get there earlier, and just remember the back row is really far away. But the show, I loved it.
I thought it was pretty good. It is cut down to a straight 1 hour, so it is like boom, boom, boom. There is no time to breathe for anything, but it was good. The cast was good. There's kind of like an R&B infusion into some of the music, which I thought made it unique and like made it, you know, kind of worthwhile to me. Like I liked that it was a little bit different in that aspect. Muses are still good. They're a little bit more diverse. There are some guy muses, which I think is fine. Like it worked.
Oh, they were fantastic also.
Yeah.
And so Blake loved it. Dave loved it. So we all talked after the show and collectively as a foursome agreed that you lose a little bit because we all saw it at West End also over the summer. So it's different than that, but you lose a little bit of it because it's shorter. So, and they can't do all of the verses of the songs. It's just like, oh, we have to get it all in, but still very entertaining. I think Disney did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did a good job. Yeah, to that point, couple songs I think needed an extra moment or two to like really feel full and fleshed out.
And you know, they could have like taken a few hits away from the fight scenes. Like they didn't, they just kept going with it, and they could have given us a couple more minutes on some of those songs. Okay, yeah. Disney, listen to us for our feedback. They don't care.
Yeah, I agree. It was good though. Like I enjoyed it. I don't know that it would be like my top DCL production show, but definitely worthwhile to see.
Same. Moana is still number one for me. It is the best show that I've seen on a cruise ship and my favorite theater production, like this version of it. And this is good. It does not rise to that level for me. And I know yours is, you're going to say your favorite?
Yeah, Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast are, I think, still my top two. I think Beauty and the Beast is like one of the most well-produced ones on the ships. And I think Aladdin is just super iconic.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was one of the earlier shows they brought on that they just, like, chef kiss got it right. And obviously that has held true because it is on many of the ships now.
We were ranking... Were we together when we were ranking the ships, or was it just my family driving home when we were ranking like the different? So we were trying to decide like of the entertainment dining restaurants on the Wish class, is it, you know, Arendelle or Lion King or Coco? And Blake picked Coco as his favorite. Mine would be Lion King and then Arendelle and then Coco. And I think Dave felt the same for ranking those. And then as far as production shows go, Moana is the clear winner. And then Hercules is fantastic. And then Poor Little Mermaid, because it took us a very long time to even remember what their specialty show is on the Wish.
I think Little Mermaid is one of the more forgettable productions. And not that it's bad. And there's like some cool things because that was... obviously new to the Wish, one of the earlier ones to like utilize the projection mapping a little bit more. Like it did some cool things. But again, seeing the improvement from this new Wish class, like every time we're just stepping it up a little bit. And it unfortunately leaves the Wish kind of in that dream situation of like, it's good, but it's not as good as.
Right. Right. And so, yeah, so we were like going through the different of that class to see how we felt. But I knew I'd love Lion King. I knew I'd love Hercules, and I did. And the thing for me that was surprising is I didn't dislike all of the Marvel and the villains. And that's important because that meant that it could still bring me back on that ship again without feeling like dread. That's the wrong word, but I can't think of like something less than dread. But they did a really good job.
I agree. One more topic I want to discuss is the lounges. And I will say real quick for our live listeners, if you have any questions, now would be the perfect time to drop those in the chat just so that we can get back around to them. But yeah, so pretty much a whole fleet of new lounges, a couple returning ones. I'll go ahead and just start off with Corella's. Pretty elegant, nice inside. It is your piano bar. My only con is it's not big enough. It fills up. Just even for regular music, it is always packed in there. And I would love to see them. They do music in Sanctum as well, but it's like the piano players only play in the piano bar. Whatever sort of like band always plays in the Sanctum. And then nowhere else you can really like go to find music. And I would love to see them expand that a little bit to this class of ship. Like the Rose has room that you could probably do some live music, like a violinist in there or a stringist. That would be amazing. Or
yeah,
even,
we talked about
bring
that.
some lobby music back.
Yes. Yeah, because there's a stage. Well, so on the Wish, they have Victophonics a lot of times playing. Maybe it's only certain sailings, but they do live music on the Wish in the Grand Hall. So
and the Wish has that like built up stage section to it, which they've gotten rid of. Not to say that they couldn't find space.
There's
a well, yes, there's the main stage. But they also would do music over by the statue, because remember that has like that built up marble section over there.
I don't recall ever having music there. I could be wrong though. But they definitely have used the stage before for music, and they can easily do that again. But I don't care if they shove it in a corner, but we would like music.
I agree. More music. That is always one of my favorite parts.
Sanctum doesn't, I'm sorry, I got like ADD today. Sanctum doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, but also, Marvel. I like the treasure. I like the space on the other two ships better.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I think of all of the themed ones, Sanctum is the one that kind of fell the most flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just like the elements are there. It is cool. But as for like a lounge to hang out at, it's just okay. It's not going to be like my top choice to go to and sit down and hang out at. It's a nice meeting point for things. A lot of stuff happens there. There's crafts, music, but it's not really like the one that I'm going to be drawn to.
I'm not drawn to it. It's easy though. And so for that reason, it's great to go there, and there's the most space. But again, it's not there's nothing that I can see in those spaces that I was like, oh man,
it's very like kind of just New York kind of mahogany style bar, with some Doctor Strange elements to it. It's just like it could be a little bit more. It is a nice space, like it looks nice. But there are spaces that I would just much rather be in. Why don't we go ahead and jump over to Haunted Mansion Parlor, which has returned from the treasure. Honestly, like, wasn't super, super high on my radar, and I end up enjoying it so much. I really like this lounge. Definitely can be a little bit hard to get into, another tighter space in there. But just to, like, sit there and watch the things happen, and then get the drinks that have cool stuff going on was a lot of fun. Liz asked, did I get any tiki mugs? No, I showed the highest form of restraint, and I did not get any of the specialty glassware.
But we have something to maybe look forward to or do in July.
Yes, next time for sure. I was very close to it, and I was like, maybe not this time. I only had so much baggage space.
That is true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the mugs and stuff are cool. Like I do enjoy them, but no, I did not bring any of that home. And then Cask and Cannon is probably the last of the like unique lounge spaces.
I liked this space better than I thought I would. I sort of had the idea that I wouldn't care about it at all. And I did. It feels homey. It feels like your pub, I got, your regular pub, that the vibe that the other ones all had, but it has the little tiny elements if you want it, like the forgotten chess table and random things like that. So it has that theming element, but it also is a cozy pub.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It is the space I wish I would have spent more time in, but it's also the space that like not a lot when the bar is open is going on because it is also the sports lounge. So it's where people are going to watch sports. And then on top of that, they didn't have, well, the whole ship did not have like any of their specialty beers. I was like 0 for 4 or 5 on ordering specialty beers, but that is like the beer and rum bar. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you have this? We don't have that. Do you have this? We don't have that. It's like, what do you have? And it was kind of your generic options.
Right.
It was your Sam Adams and, your Blue Moon and all of that.
Shayna joked that maybe your beer was stuck in traffic. And she had said that
hope.
Beginning of the show, and now at the end of the show, it works to bring it in. But yeah, I think part of it too is that lounge is super crowded during these preview cruises because the workers that are still launching the ship and doing the working on all the lighting, like the people that aren't going to stay on board but are there to launch the ship, that's where they go in the evening. And then you had a bunch of media people there as well that, again, they did their work and then they want to go and have a beer. So that space was jammed. And on my previous cruises, that space was always jammed. And it was always people like having their after work beer in the evening. And so, yeah, I think will still be popular, but I don't think it'll be to the level of packed that it was every evening because of who was on board.
Yeah, definitely a space to go back and explore. I didn't even like get to the rum menu because we were in there last night and it was like absolutely crazy packed, but there were sports games going on and all of that. And it's also one of the few places you can get food late at night as well. So if you're hungry, you pretty much have to go there to pay extra for some meals.
Not if you're gluten-free, though.
Nothing.
They weren't
available.
that interested in having anything gluten-free there. So, and it's, a very small kitchen, and who knows if that'll change in the future, but something to keep in mind. There is a bunch of plant-based options. So, but they're prepared in like the same fryer, if it's a fryer, so things to keep in mind. And I did get to try their signature rum drink at the travel agent tour where we went from space to space. They had a little shot glass of it for us, and woo, that drink is strong. So keep that in mind. And if you really want to get your money's worth, that's a good one. And let's stick with drinks for a second, Lake, because we did get to experience some different drinks. They did give us some coupons, which they'd given more than even they had in any other previous cruise. So just know some of the drinks we didn't have to pay for with our own money for. But even some of the drinks we did pay for with our own money, they have a ton of unique in each of the bar spaces. Well, Roses. Well, I guess they still have that unique drink up there. We didn't really go up there. We didn't experience any of the drinks there this time. But they really put effort into providing people with like a really fun, unique drink experience if you wanted that, including even some fun zero proof drinks. So for people who don't drink alcohol or choose not to, they had a lot of options as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, one of the things I was most excited for was the menus on board. We did get to try, I think, pretty much something like special from everywhere but Cask and Cannon. We had, and even Sanctum, we didn't plan on it, and they had accidentally misheard us, and we ended up with one of the fun drinks, which was cool and ended up being pretty good. So I was not
Like a
upset
whole
about that.
teapot and circular thing going on with that surprise drink.
Yeah, I had ordered the Fashionista at DeVille's, which I did not realize was one of the ones that, like, so it just has the drink on the menu, and then it comes out on the big tray, and it's got a martini glass of popcorn, and it's like strawberry cheesecake popcorn. It was actually delicious, and it's got a little like powder scooper of dark chocolate M&Ms that are black and white. It was super cool, and the drink was also pretty good as well.
Yeah, that one was. Did you post that as a still picture?
I believe so.
Okay, so
Yes.
in the one where Lake is in, so you can look at his website or his page. No, you're not in there. It's not in there. Blake will post it if he hasn't posted. Just a still photo of him with this drink. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, so definitely the lounge menus, you know, as long as they have everything. We did run into that at the Sanctum as well. The bubble smoke blower was not working, which I was not in the least bit worried about. I didn't order the drink I ordered for that by any means. But it was another one of those, like, okay. And then they did mention, too, like, they were super limited on some of the special glassware. So they were very much like, oh, you might have to wait on that for some things. Or, like, if you finished up, they had to, like, take that stuff and turn it. Because
and
they
this
could
is a preview cruise without all the people and without things that have already broken. But, you know, that's what happens.
Missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To that end, about the barware, our listener Liz had made a reel for the different, because Disney had posted a while back all the different drinks in the unique places. So she actually found copycats of most of the most interesting barware. So we are tagged in it. So if you go to DCL_podcast on Instagram, you can find it in our reels as well. But it has like all of that if you're interested. Because I know while we were on the cruise, even somebody was asking, one of the concierge lounge hosts that I got to talk to during the cruise, she wanted to know where to get some of this barware because they were absolutely in love with it. And so, you know, I got to show her Liz's reel so that she could look for that barware as well. So you should look that up. It's really fun.
Yeah, that was a really cool post, actually.
Yeah.
Christy, anything else from around the Destiny that you want to discuss? I mean, we really focused in on, you know, pretty much the new and shiny. There are, you know, all of your same Wish classics. I will say people had asked about the rose. The setup is the same in the rose, and I think that gold rose is kind of tacky, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's and even the backsplash, I think, is less interesting than on the Wish.
Oh, the artwork. We should talk about the artwork for just a second. So there is a lot of very interesting, loud and bright Marvel artwork throughout the ship. Marvel/villains, even the one set of elevators. And I think the way they described it is that would be the villain's elevator. And the carpet in front of it was, what's that dragon that's on the carpet? Isn't there a dragon
Maleficent?
on the carpet? Yeah. So like that's the carpet outside the elevator. And then they have all the villain faces, but then they have Minnie Mouse in the elevator, like announcing the floors. And is it because she's fighting the villains? Maybe. And then on the aft of the ship, that is the aft, right? Yeah, the aft, they have Mickey and Sorcerer Mickey. And is that Fantasmic Mickey? Which Mickey is it?
That's Sorcerer Mickey. Yeah.
Sorcerer Mickey. Okay. And they have Mickey Mouse in the elevator. And this is like the more heroes elevator bank. And so that is just a difference. Little things like the carpet is still super unique. The light fixtures are still super unique. There's some really gorgeous pieces of art that are even the cutout papers, and they've had this throughout all of the different ships, and so they have it for this set of this ship as well. Just stunning. Nicholas Smith, who's one of our favorite artists, Nova raved about him as well. He did the Cindy's, he did the Jasmine through the years, and now he did what is the thing that he did? The Marvel picture.
He did the Black Panther one.
And so big, huge Black Panther over 3 panels art piece that's actually just absolutely stunning. And so you'll find really good artwork still throughout the ship. Disney knocks out. And even little things like the wallpaper in certain spaces is just either textured or unique. Like they really, design element on this class of ship is amazing. Wins hands down.
The artwork on the ship is like worth an afternoon to just walk up and down the steps and take a look at, and like just explore all the spaces to see all the artwork you can. And they have the kiosk still, so you can see like all of the room artwork is on that as well. Yeah, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, they really did a great job. That might be it now.
Yeah, I think that's about it for me. I mean, I will say, Wish was, I think, ranked fairly low for me when we did our ship rankings. But I think the Destiny might rank fairly highly for me. But, I'll give that kind of a second sailing until I make a final judgment on that for sure. But I was really impressed with the Destiny. I really liked it. I enjoyed it, I think, more than the Wish. Again, not that I didn't dislike the Wish, but the theming resonates with me more than the Wish does for sure. And I do think we're seeing those improvements from the Wish coming through as well.
And that's what I think is like these little tiny changes and little tiny improvements is what Disney is doing with the additional shows and some interaction and things like that. This ship ranks high in the Wish class for me as well, purely for, Lion King and Hercules and some reasons like that. My biggest issue with it, honestly, has nothing to do with Marvel or villains, which you would think I'd have a higher issue with, but it's just its location. So,
and that's not necessarily a deal breaker for me. We have these ships, they have to go places, and Fort Lauderdale is really incentivizing cruise lines to come and sail new ships out of there. So
absolutely. And it's great for, like we've already discussed at the beginning of the show, it's great for people traveling to this ship. So you all are going to have a great experience. The port will work itself out. There shouldn't be too many occurrences of hopefully of 8 ships in port or something at a time. And they'll figure it out. I know they've had some passenger count issues on occasion, and I think that they'll work it out. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, we just have one more question from Scott. For the preview cruise, were they understaffed or under-passengered? Technically not understaffed, but we probably weren't seeing all of the staff all at once, because I'm sure they were off doing other things. And yes, there were less passengers, but there was also less things operating at once. Like all of the restaurants were not operating as regular rotational dining. And then most of the days, a lot of spaces were closed because media is filming, like actual, televised television stuff is going on. The radio stations take up a pretty significant part of the deck space. So there is space being filled or closed for other things.
And resources, because they have the resources that need to go to those spaces and things as well, which I think is part of like why there weren't regular character meet and greets throughout the day in the spaces. And even like the children's spaces, they were filming promo videos and then the different media people coming in to film So they would have a lot more open house hours than they typically would. And this is just how it works with a preview cruise.
Yeah. But again, still a super exciting opportunity. I am thankful that Christy let me join her family along for the experience and that we could all be here to discuss it with you.
We loved having you. We just are going to teach Lake how to open and close a door. Once we solve that problem, all will be well with the world.
I did struggle with that main,
oh my God.
that main door. And I tried so hard,
You
too.
tried.
It was
He
not
tried.
for...
Yes, this is not Lake's. He can't help it.
Okay, so the first day, I didn't realize that the deadbolt was on. So when you go to, like, force the door, it forces the deadbolt, and that makes a whole lot of clicking. I was like, oh, no.
Everybody in the family got woken up earlier than we would have, and we're up later, but it was not anyone's real fault. It was just the room situation, and it was totally fine. Made us for something to make fun of you forever about, Lake.
That's fine. That's what I made fun of for. That's good.
We loved it. We loved having you there. So,
yeah,
and it makes us
fun.
do stuff. So when we have other people, it makes us go and do the things, which I'm always really grateful for. Like I stayed up late last night. Oh yeah, we did the Kiss Goodnight thing. Which is it still called that on the ship, or does it have a really cool name?
No, I believe it's still the Kiss Goodnight.
Because
I don't know that it actually has a name. I think that's just what people
call it.
Collectively called it. Yeah.
I've never been to the Kiss Goodnight before, but I was like, wait, this is it? Shouldn't there be more? So don't stay up for that. If you're not,
I enjoy it. If you're already up in there, I think it's fun, which was more of my case, was I would have been up in there either way.
Right. But that end of the cruise show, you know what we didn't do? We didn't do that Discovered thing or whatever it's called. The new midship detective agency. That's called.
Yeah, totally we never got around to that.
At some point it wasn't working, but they had said it was working. So I'm not entirely sure what was going. It doesn't matter. But so that would be something to try, and our listeners will have to report back.
Yeah. Well, I think sadly we have to wrap this one up.
Yes.
Christy, where can our listeners follow you?
You can find me all over the internet at Pack Your Pixie Dust. I actually hope to have, I need to look at my videos, but I hope to have the Lion King show to be able to post on YouTube. Fingers crossed. So you can find me over there, and I'll share it on my socials if we can get it up. But I did record a lot of that show. I just have to see what the audio ends up being like. But it was such a good show. Lake, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at MouseGen. And you can follow the podcast at DCL Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, or find more information at our website, dclpodcast.com. And you can always utilize Christy's travel services at Pack Your Pixie Dust, or if you are listening to the audio, click the link below that says Book with Christy.
Yeah, thank you. And it's honestly, you listeners, just to let you know, it's because of you. Oh, poor Lake's battery is gone. He really does need the show to end. It's because of you that I also get to do these really cool experiences. So thank you for booking with me. Thank you for listening to our show too and interacting with us. We absolutely love it.
I knew I was getting close there. I was ready with the backup though.
Okay. Good job.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank those who joined us live across both my channel and the DCL podcast. We appreciate you all. As always, you can also support the show by visiting us at DCL Podcast, or by visiting us at patreon.com/DCL Podcast.
Absolutely.
But that's going to do it. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.